Now, I mentioned earlier I was looking forward to speaking to Tanya Riches, who from the beginning of her work at Hillsong Church, Tanya's gone on to be a well-respected Christian academic around the world, teaching at many different places. I could list them in Singapore, Canada, the United States, and Andrews University in the United States, and many more. But Tanya, I don't want to waste time doing that. I want to talk to you. It's good to talk to you. Making the move from Christian music, because you're known, probably for one or two songs particularly, you're known for that, but into academic studies, not something that many people do. How did it come about?
Yeah, sure. I think I've always had a curious mind, and so probably answers that might have satisfied other people, probably I just sat there with questions and really just wanted to explore them more. And so academics is a really creative industry actually, and so research, you're able to explore those questions. So I guess it kind of was natural for me, but I can imagine there probably aren't a lot of musicians that imagine being academics.
So it's the next stage on for this, something about that name, isn't it, really, to ask what does that name mean?
Definitely. For me, it was, worship really evoked something in me, a desire to understand Jesus more. And then, that led to finding out what other people, have written and history of, the church and
now,
more
I
about
think of
Jesus.
Fuller in terms of church growth because of a lot of work that's there. But tell us, what is it, Fuller Theological College and Seminary like?
Oh, it's so diverse, and I think that's the incredible thing about it. It's really people from all over the world. So Fuller's had a legacy in many, many places like Korea and, Africa. There's really strong heritage and the Fuller alumni are a really strong network around the world. So really it was just being in a place where there's representatives of every single denomination, every single church, national church, and being able to talk through some of the things that, we grapple with in a local context.
Did that broaden your thinking a little bit and gave you avenues of thinking that to that time had not been yours?
Yeah, definitely. I think you realise really the beauty of your own tradition. So for me, that's the Pentecostal tradition. Growing up, and doing worship, in a lot of places around the world, but being Pentecostal and realising what that means comparative to other types of Christian denominations and how people view Jesus and what the strengths of those churches are, and being able to really celebrate that.
So you come back to Australia and you start working with Aboriginals to find out what their pastors are like, what it is about indigenous people attending city churches. What have you learned from that?
Yeah, so I think the thing that drew me to that was that I really felt that if Jesus was to turn up in contemporary Australian society today, I kind of wondered where would the manger be? Where would be this place of lowliness? And I couldn't help but get away from the idea that it might be the Kimberleys and it might be a little child in the Kimberleys that would be very easily overlooked. And, that where, 1 in 5 has an ear infection and there's all kinds of health disparities. So for me, I got drawn to that out of a spiritual kind of quest and walked in wanting to learn more. The Aboriginal pastors that I found in a network right around Australia are extraordinary. So to be able to sit and listen to their wisdoms and to be able to follow them.
And I admire that, I have to say, because I think from the evangelical tradition that we all belong to, our strength hasn't been in that area. It's been in other areas.
In listening. No, I don't think so. I think it's been in, prescribing ways. And that taking a different stance and listening has really changed the way that I've approached my own faith, the way that I approach prayer, the way that I, live now is different. The way that I think about the environment that we live in.
And lecture and run courses.
Yeah, I think, just the idea of even being able to gather wisdom from the people that are around us and to be able to, have sat in yarning circles and to learn what that is like.
Yeah.
That's a deeply Australian,
It is.
tradition in the sense that, that's the word that we use now, Australia, but the land has had this tradition of leadership and of culture that I think it's beautiful to be able to participate in it and to see that as something that is a strength of Australia.
And much truth is under the tree in a circle.
Absolutely, around a campfire, right?
Yeah.
You learn all kinds of things. But I think in the urban context, where that those things still happen, but in different ways. And there's a really cool culture. Aboriginal Australia is young and very tech savvy.
So people
that's really
still
great.
enjoy listening to you sing. Do you still find music satisfying, or has it changed in any way?
Oh, I think, definitely for me, writing has been something that I've done in the past year a lot with the release of my monograph, which was my PhD. And, editing, you kind of get caught in the nitty-gritty. But singing is a bodily freedom that I think is really important for us as people who can sometimes be really in our phones and, really present in a very, mundane way. To sing is to really allow our spirits to be free. And so I definitely love that. And my little son, he's 5 months and he has been trying to sing. So I think it's innate in us.
I'm sure he's changed your life, as all children do. Look, I wish we'd got more time. I hope we'd perhaps have you back again sometime on the show. Thank you for giving us the time to talk to us today.